Mike, Diane, no bodies, please.
Hey, it's us.
She's a lot like me. Diane wasn't a very difficult thing to pull off. She's just very fun-loving, very easygoing. Of course, she has that cop aspect to her, so she's a little bit tougher. Being a tomboy, I guess that came a little bit naturally too. She's just very fun-loving and really interested in Mike, and so the relationship between them is kind of the same as their personalities. It's very kind of flippant and fun, and when they work, they still have fun, but they're, just good partners and can kind of play off of each other.
Diane and I were thinking about going on a date after this is all over. What? Precinct have a problem with that?
If we get out of this, you can lick whipped cream off Diane's ass on the mayor's desk for all I care.
See? How's Tuesday sound? I'll bring the whipped cream, you call the mayor.
I ran across a casting call and went to audition for Carolyn. And in doing that, I ended up getting involved with Ponderous and lots of other people along the way. You haven't been with us as long as Ruby and Montoya have, so I'm going to tell you how this works. Well, after doing the audition and doing the audition for Carolyn and the call back for Carolyn, then I got a call from Amanda asking about accepting the part of Sarah. And so I accepted the part of Sarah. I got the sides, just like the little sides from Brett for Sarah, and read through it, and I was like, okay, memorized all the lines, and probably like a week or two before I was supposed to shoot for Sarah, Amanda called me and said that there were scheduling conflicts with the person who was supposed to play Diane, and asked if I would be interested. It was a little bit bigger role, whatever. And she asked me if I had the lines memorized. I was like, well, kind of. I think I've got almost all of them. She's like, well, normally I would be a little upset that you said that, but since I'm about to change everything on you and ask you this, I'm not. And so she asked me to take the role of Diane, and then I started getting, it was like pieces of the puzzle. Like I started getting a little bit more. Now I knew stuff that other people didn't know because I had the lines for Sarah before. And so then coming up with Diane and getting to read that part and knowing that I would be back in the future, or the past, I guess you would say.
You're gonna pull a woman card.
There's no woman card. There's a race card, but there's no woman card.
Yes, there is.
Like what?
Does my ass look big?
No, actually, it's very cute, but this is not the time to be self-conscious.
When you women ask if your ass looks big, it's a setup.
Are you saying that my ass looks big?
There you go.
I didn't even know who was playing Mike. Honestly, whenever I sat down the very first day, whenever we went to shoot, I had no idea who Mike was, who was playing Mike. And I sat down and I was like, oh, okay. Writer-director, I get to sit in front of him and he's playing opposite me. How about that? Brett is such a quiet guy normally and doesn't really have a lot to say, just kind of sits and smokes, and you don't really hear that much out of him, and just seems very kind of introverted and whatever. And then he gets on screen, and that transition into Mike was so amazing to me, because it went from this quiet kind of whatever to all of a sudden like he's making jokes and he's very kind of confident of himself, and it was the funniest thing to me to sit there, and I was like, wow, this is really amazing to see that transitioning of personality. And then you get to know Brett, and he's kind of like that anyway. He just keeps it to his closer people, I think. I was told you're a man to trust. I loved the 1940s piece because of how long, it was taking in between the first movie and for us to shoot the other one. It was almost, I shot at the very beginning and then the very, very end. So it was literally like a year had almost passed. Almost. And I had been studying that entire year, I had been studying the styles of the clothes, the styles of the makeup, the fingernails, and asking Brett, just like inundating him with questions about what what is it that you want? You know, what hair color do you want for Laura? And he's like, I don't care what color hair Laura has. It doesn't matter.
He is probably just hoping that Tara does not come back in time for them to see it. If he could just get that one little peck in really quick, and then...
Y'all are missing...
Apparently, the kiss between Laura and Mike was very, very trying time for Brett. Now, most people wouldn't understand that trying time. Brett was very torn by this, which I didn't know whether to take as an insult or a compliment. But I get this file, and I find out that there has been a meeting of the minds about whether or not Mike and Laura kiss.
His first love, and having that turmoil of him still loving her and still loving Tara would be terrible for him.
Right.
As a tormented hero,
Let's say he
that
does
would be
kiss
perfect.
her.
And so I'm watching this meeting, and it's funny to me that everybody has some very logical reasoning behind whatever it is that they feel, and they feel it.
Every guy, maybe not you, Brad, you can tell me if you're up with this. If you didn't kiss that bitch, you can get out of it. But if your lips are locking in the cookie jar, there's nothing you can say to get out of it.
Whatever it is, yes, you have to kiss her. It's your only chance. You know, you've been waiting for so long, and now this is the chance to have that happen. And then you have other people who are like,
cheat on her.
And that's perfect for Mike, because he's a tormented
He's
hero.
going to have to live with that.
Exactly. That's perfect.
So finally, Amanda, after about 5 minutes or so of going back and forth about whatever, Amanda just turns to Brett and goes,
Call Ryan, she's the one that you're going to be kissing.
and so all you hear is Hasso stand up on the other side of the table and say,
No, that's not a factor.
She's the actress.
it doesn't matter. She's just an actress and she'll do what she's told to do. And so at that point, Matthew and I had not been talking even business-wise for very long. I'd only talked to him maybe once. So the next thing that Hasso gets is this email going, oh, I'm just an actress, right?
I don't want Frank. He was the one who was seducing me. He kept telling me that I reminded him of someone he was really close to once.
I will say that the crying thing is probably one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. And I know that there's an outtake as well on number 8 where Amanda's she's sitting there and all of a sudden she just starts bawling and she's crying and tears are running down her face. And I come to get in the car and I sit down in the car and she goes,
Bitch, what are you doing in my car?
and I was like, what? Wait. And then I just started laughing. It was just that weird, like, you were just crying like 2 seconds ago, and why are you joking with me? I could not do that. So I think that those automatic tears, now whether she uses them in real life or not, I don't know.
Who are you really?
I could ask you the same question.
Why 10 films in 1 year question was always my favorite, because if you're doing independent films, why not? Why not? There's no restriction on independent film. It's not like you have to go through producers and somebody else who's going to tell you what you can and cannot do. You can do whatever you want to do. Why else would you be doing an independent film? It's not for the money. It's not for, whatever else. It's for the experience, the fun, and just to dream of something and do it, and don't just sit around on an idea. The thing about independent film, not having to do anything with budget or anything like that, is this is the point of growth. And with independent film, you get to explore and play, and I think it's honestly a lot more creative than what you would have if you had the budget, because you're literally scraping to try and figure out, how do I make a time travel machine that looks like whatever. I mean, your creativity really is at its highest, because you're using like the base of whatever you can find to really make something special. And I love that aspect of it. It's about your heart and about the growth that you have, not just the camaraderie that you get working with other people that are in it for the same thing, but I know for me, it was experience. And that experience really helps you kind of step up and think, okay, well, we did that and that was awesome. Now let's see what else we can do. Now that we have that under our belt, let's see if how we can do something else or do this.